Chris Fikes here. Welcome to Seed Designs. And today I'm going to be talking about the value of an effective brand. And full disclosure, most everything that I'm going to share with you today, or at least the first half, came from an article that I read over on the website for Brand Extract. And these guys are a firm in Houston, Texas. They have a lot of great stuff. I've talked about them before. I'll put the link to the article in the description of the video. I highly recommend that you go check that out. There's going to be some extra information in that article that I'm not going to go over in this video. But basically what I've done is I've taken some of the information in that article and I've just distilled it and condensed it into a keynote presentation that I'm going to go through. So stick around and I hope you enjoy it. Roll the tape. All right, we are back. We're going to start pretty simple right here. Just get to the root, man. Get down to brass tacks. What is a brand? There's a quote from Dan Pallotta. Dan Pallotta is a humanitarian author, kind of a famous guy. And he said, "Brand is everything, and everything is brand." And I think that's a great place to start from, to think about with any brand that you are familiar with, whether you like that brand or not, to recognize that all the different things that they do intentionally, sometimes unintentionally, to contribute to what their brand is. You know, an easy example is McDonald's. Obviously the logo, the color palette that they use, but even the layout of the stores, all the stores are very similar, almost exactly the same. The playscapes that they use are all a certain way, a certain design. The packaging, even the location of the stores, where they will and will not put their stores, plays into the brand. Everything is brand. Brand is everything. So an effective brand does something. What does it do? It accomplishes a few things that are very critical to running an effective business or having a brand that is valuable. The first thing an effective brand does is that it gets people to buy more. It gets people to purchase more of your product or your service. The second thing is they pay more for a brand. An effective brand will not only get people to buy more of what you're selling, but they'll pay more for it because of the brand that it represents. They'll also make quicker decisions. So that means quicker decisions when it comes to purchasing that product or service. They will decide easier and quicker to do that. The next thing is an effective brand. This may be one of the most valuable aspects of an effective brand or a brand name, a brand identity, is that it encourages or it allows people to become brand advocates, to where they will go out into the world and they will market and advertise for your brand. Either they will talk about how good your brand is, how great your service is, how valuable your products are. And that's one of the most valuable aspects of an effective brand. So effective branding, it does two things. It drives motivation to purchase and it alleviates concerns related to pricing. So when you think about a company like Apple, you can see it very clearly. The Apple branding is so effective that they are motivated to purchase. They're so motivated to purchase that they will stand in line for hours and hours and hours, sometimes spend the night out on the sidewalk to be the first in line to purchase an iPhone or an iPad or a new computer, whatever it is that Apple is selling, that they're releasing, that product launch. People are motivated to purchase that product. And it alleviates those concerns related to pricing, where people, they don't care that the iPhone is one of the most expensive phones on the market. That doesn't matter to them. They want the Apple product. So that is effective branding. There's two key components to effective brand development that I want to focus on. The first one is brand recognition, and the second one is brand strength. So the question is, what is brand recognition and brand strength? Let's go over those real quick. Brand recognition is the likelihood of someone to be familiar with, or at least to have heard of your company. So have they at least heard your name, heard about who you are, what you do? They have some idea of who you are. They're at least familiar with your logo, your name, your brand, your business. The goals of brand recognition is to promote trust and credibility. That's the main thing that you're doing when you're increasing brand recognition, is that people recognize you and that they trust what you do and what you sell, and that they believe you're credible. They believe in the information you present, and that when you say your product or your service does X or Y, they believe that to be true. Brand strength, on the other hand, is the perceived value of your products or services. So what does it give to the buyer or to the purchaser? And the goals of brand strength is to communicate what buyers care about most. In other words, why your products and services matter to the customer. What's in it for the buyer? That's the simple question, the heart of the brand strength. What's in it for the buyer? That perceived value. So what is branding and why does it matter? I think we've gone over it pretty good, but the question is, what's in it for the buyer? Why should you, as a business owner or as a designer or as a potential client of a designer, care about branding? What's in it for you? Well, branding is the process of developing meaningful and effective brand recognition and brand strength. That's what a good branding campaign or brand development strategy does. It helps you to promote meaningful brand recognition and brand strength. So why do brand recognition and brand strength matter? What do they actually do when we get down to it, past all the fluff? How does it make a difference on your bottom line for your business? Why does it matter? Well, these are two things. These are things that I got from Brand Extract from the article. You can go and look, and they have these same graphs. And this is not a scientific data analysis. This is just a general idea, a general theory of relativity between brand recognition and sales and brand strength and price point. When you have good brand recognition, people know who you are, they believe that you're trustworthy and credible, then they will want to buy more of your products. So your sales go up. You can sell more because people know about you and they think that you're trustworthy and credible. Brand strength means that people have there is a perceived value in the products and services that you offer. So people are willing to pay more for that product because they believe that it is valuable and there's something in it for them. So when you have those two things together, you're able to get people to buy more and pay more. So it's kind of obvious what that means, that your revenue is going to go up, but also your profit margins and your value of your company is going to go up. There's a few other things that brand recognition and brand strength, a good effective branding campaign will do for you. I'm just going to mention them, but I'm not going to go into them very much. First of all, it helps to collapse purchase cycles, which means that you can guide prospects or potential customers through the buyer's journey more quickly. And that goes back to what I mentioned earlier about making quicker decisions. It also allows you a lower cost to market. So in other words, you spend less on marketing and advertising because people know about you already. They're familiar with you, so the amount of money you have to spend on marketing and advertising can come down. It helps you to protect your strategic position, increase profit margins because of what we saw earlier, more sales at a higher price point. Another thing it does is it helps with recruitment and retention. So anytime you're growing your business, growing your team, those are really important things. You can spend lots and lots of time on recruiting and talent acquisition, but with a strong brand, it allows you to spend less time on those things because people know about you and they want to work with you. So you have people coming to you to ask for a job rather than you going out searching for people. It also allows you to command a higher skill level from potential hires. You are able to be picky with who you hire because people want to work with you. There's a line of people trying to get on board. And it builds employee loyalty. People don't want to quit. They don't want to leave because they believe in the brand that you've developed. And finally, something that may not matter for a lot of people, but mergers and acquisitions, it allows you to trigger a premium sale price, which means the value of your company, your business, there is intrinsic value because of the brand strength and brand recognition. So again, those are things that are important to matter, but I'm not going to go into a lot. One of the most important aspects of a brand is public perception. And really at the heart of all of this, brand recognition, brand strength, that's what we're talking about, is public perception. How do people perceive your brand, your company, who you are, what you stand for, what you offer, the value of what you bring to them as a consumer. So a lot of people ask me, how does Seed Designs fit into this? So my studio, my company, we do brand strategy and branding development, graphic design. How do I tell clients when I talk to people that Seed Designs does this? Why does that all matter, and how does Seed Designs fit into brand development or our branding campaign? So first of all, it's more than just graphic design. Graphic design at its most basic, and I'm being a little critical here, it's just making things look pretty. And if that's all we're going to do, then that might be more like art. And we're not just artists. We are artists. We like art. We like to create beautiful things and make things pretty, but not just for the sake of being pretty, but for a purpose. So I use the phrase classical strategy and brand development. And what I mean by that is that what we do for clients when we work with them on a branding campaign or brand development, we do a combination of detective work, investigation, counseling, doctoring, the scientific process, experimenting, critical thinking, logic, and even psychology. So you're probably wondering, okay, that sounds interesting, okay, cool, whatever, but you're saying a lot of fluff that doesn't really mean anything. So let me give you a practical idea of what that means, the process that we use to walk people through when we do this, when we do brand development and strategy with someone. We start off with investigation. It always has to start with listening to the client, asking lots and lots and lots of questions. Where they're at, what's going on, what are their goals, what are they trying to accomplish, what are their obstacles, what are the things that they're having a hard time with, where are they spending all their time, where are they not spending time that they wish they could spend more time. So questions and questions and questions, investigating. And step one, the investigating, is meant to lead us to step two, which is identifying problems and latent needs. And I say latent needs because many times those needs are hidden or they're unknown, they're uncovered. They're there and people feel them. They feel them on a day-to-day basis with the struggles of their business or their company or their daily operations, or lack of brand strength, lack of brand recognition, but they don't know exactly what the need is. So that investigation, that first step, allows us to identify those problems and those latent needs. And then we move to step three, which is diagnosing, analyzing, evaluating, scrutinizing, and dissecting those problems and those needs. What does that mean? How do they affect everything, every aspect of the business, every aspect of the brand? And then we brainstorm. We spend time collaborating, not just on our own as designers, as brand experts, but with our clients, with the people we're working with, because they're the expert in their field. They're the expert in their business. They have the vision and the drive and the motivation to make changes and to grow and to push their brand forward. So we want to collaborate with them and capitalize on their expertise and their knowledge. We want to think outside the box and do some creative problem solving. And then that takes us to the last step, wayfinding. And wayfinding, we take all those other things, the answers to those questions, the problems, the diagnosis, and the brainstorming, and then we strategize and plan. We choose a trajectory and a course of action to actually work towards solving those problems, meeting those needs. And that's the wayfinding aspect. And then there is a step 6, which is rinse and repeat. You may have to go back to investigating again. You may have to go back to asking more questions, working through this process. It's a repeating process that goes over and over and over. So that is the process that we use in our brand strategy and development with our clients. So let me finish with 2 quotes. The first one is from actually from Jonathan Fisher at Brand Extract. And he said, branding is not only about improving the perception of your company, but also making the business itself more valuable. And I think that's pretty obvious when you think through the value of a brand and how it actually increases the intrinsic value of a business or an organization. And then the last quote is from me, Chris Fikes. The most successful businesses and organizations in the world recognize that brand strategy and development are an investment, not an expense. So I think that's important when we talk to clients, when we talk to people that we are potentially going to work with and collaborate with, that they see what we do, branding, brand development, even graphic design, as an investment in the long-term value and growth and development of their business, not a day-to-day expense. It's not like paying the electric bill or paying for the internet, but it is an investment in the value of their business over the long term. So I hope that's been helpful, and I look forward to reading your comments and having some good dialogue. Have a great week.